All right, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. I am so excited for this because it's with a friend and someone who I totally admire in this industry, Nicole Isaacs, powerhouse creator, entrepreneur, travel lifestyle expert, all of that. I think she's built an iconic presence online. She's been doing this forever. You guys are going to learn a lot more about her. I actually met Nicole on a campaign with the Costa Rica Tourism Board ages ago, and the rest is history. Since then, we have hired her actually for campaigns for other brand clients and have always just kind of remained close. I even got to go to her wedding this year, which was one of the most epic weddings, actually the most epic wedding I've ever been to. And I will go on record saying that. But Nicole, like I said, she has done so much amazing work in this industry. She's worked with the biggest brands that you can imagine. I mean, think Samsung, think Ritz, think Neutrogena, think McDonald's, my personal favorite. Her work has taken her all over around the world. She travels, but we're going to learn a lot more about her content, how she's shifting. She's been doing this forever and recently launched her own clothing line, Kadima. So she is at it. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Wow, Nina, thanks for that amazing intro. I should play that every morning right when I wake up.
Oh my God. I just actually wish we recorded our whole section, you guys, before we jumped on here. First of all, I went to her wedding this year, you guys, and this isn't even questions that I have prepared, but no, I have told her, I was like, Nicole, your wedding was legit, like the most beautiful experience. And something that I actually had on the list of things I wanted to talk to you about was your personal life, because your husband is not in this industry, right? He is, I don't even know really what he fully does, but like, how does he feel about your world, your career, like what you do, especially because you don't really include him in any of the content.
Yeah, not only is he not in my industry, he couldn't be farther from my industry. He doesn't even have Instagram. So he couldn't be farther from my world, which I kind of like. There's an aspect of it that I like, and then there's also an aspect of it that I guess is challenging, but nothing that he can learn, and he has learned so quickly already, and he's been very, very supportive. And as soon as he sees all the perks, he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. He's just all on board with everything and super supportive. But he's also just to give you a little bit of history, we dated in my early 20s for 4 years. He was my first true love. He was with me at his parents' house when I started my first blog post in 2009. So he has been around since the very beginning. And I remember he used to go to restaurants with me all around LA and New York whenever we would travel. And he would take pictures of me at restaurants when I would be writing reviews about restaurants. So he was my OG day one ride or die supporter. So he understands, as much as he's not in this world, he has followed my journey and my, for all these years, because we had broken up for 12 years, and he kind of watched from afar. And he always told his family and his friends that he's so proud of me and that I'm doing amazing things. So he's definitely a supporter, even though he's not in my world. But yeah, and he also
I think it works better. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree.
I'm team, separate lives, also probably grounds you in ways that you don't even realize, because we're always on our phones and maybe we're just always working. And I think it's actually a really good yin to the yang. So I'm here for it.
I agree. It's good balance. He'll remind me how much I love it though, because sometimes we'll be away, and if it's not a work trip, he'll be like, it's not a work trip. You don't have content to submit. I'm like, I know, but I love it so much. I want to capture everything. And so he's seen that side, and he's like, wow, it's amazing that you also really love what you do. And I've also learned about myself. I don't want to stop capturing. I'm really good at turning off when I'm home and I'm not traveling. I'm really good at just hibernating and turning off, and the balance of work and play and just meditation and living slow, slow living. But then when I'm on a trip, I just get so inspired and I want to capture everything. So I've learned that too. It's hard for me to turn off, but
yeah,
because I love it though.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's there is that element, boundaries around just being on and stuff. I'm sure he's a good little soundboard for you in that.
He is.
But speaking about something you mentioned, perks, I want to talk about it because I'm sure there's a lot of perks. So what are some of the perks, Nicole?
Well, I get a lot of free stuff, and he loves that. Eric loves that. But he, the free trips and all that stuff. But I mean, just getting to go on these amazing trips around the world, whether they're paid or free. I mean, sometimes I still take free trips, because if it's an amazing opportunity, I'll be like, okay, fine. But so he's all about that. Look, I've created my dream life. So I'm working with my dream brands. I'm working with products that I use already every day that I'm actually now getting paid to use. So it's just yeah, it's just there's so many perks in this world. I get free meals, I get free. I mean, it sounds like I feel like it sounds so
No, but
like
I mean,
privileged to
that's
talk about, but
no, but I mean, it's part of it. And I think sometimes we complain about the free because we want to be paid, right? And that's something I know you've been really vocal about.
yeah,
And then there's parts that it's like, okay, well, I do get a lot of benefits, like, things that people don't realize. And I think it's actually refreshing to hear it because a lot of times creators aren't very outright with, yeah, there are perks, like in any job, right?
yeah.
So some jobs have other perks, like some jobs have different perks around this. And it's a perk of being in this space and posting every single day for 10 years. Like there's
Hmm.
perks,
Right.
of building your business. I think that's something that I really wanted to chat with you about too, because you've been doing this literally forever. Like, I mean, before so many platforms even existed, right? And it's been over a decade. I know you mentioned briefly, like you started in 2009. That's when you started your blog, right?
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for a while. Like I'm obviously like Nicole, OG creator, which is wild because not that many creators can actually say they have that type of longevity, right? So you've seen a lot of shifts, you've seen a lot of changes in this space. Like what has stood out as something that you see that has changed from when maybe we started versus where things are now?
Right. I think that there's just so many more creators. Even when I quit my job in 2015 and I went full time in like content creating and traveling, there were already content creators, obviously, and influencers. Now it's like, I feel like so many more people are content creators. It's like, especially since COVID, I think COVID till now is when I saw the biggest shift. And I think because a lot of people just were at home and their jobs kind of stopped or they were working from home and they had more time. So people downloaded TikTok, people started doing more of that. And emergence of TikTok, I think that's when really like our industry changed because there were so many new creators that just kind of blew up and went viral on TikTok and just short form video too in the last since COVID till now. Like there's just been so much change since 2020. I think it's only been 5 years, but I really feel like there's just so many more creators. I don't know if you feel that way, but I just feel like
100%.
everyone now is like I want to be a content creator, and maybe before it was more of like an unattainable goal for a lot of people because they had 9 to 5s and desk jobs and they had to go into work all day. But then COVID happened and everyone started working from home, and like I said, everyone just started downloading TikTok and making videos and became viral and had thousands of followers within days, and then the whole industry changed.
Let's be real, it's a guts game too. It's not just busy. People didn't think this was a real job. They didn't think there was money. They thought this wasn't, real. And you guys, the OG creators, were like, actually, we're going to go out there and we're going to be first to market and we're going to kill it. And that's what you guys did. And that's why you've worked with some of the world's biggest brands because there is advantage being first, right? When you jump on that wave kind of before the masses come to it. And I do see a big rise of creators. And I think I've always said there's room for everyone. But at the same time, the people that do it now, it's because they have proof that it works. But when you did it, there was no proof. There was no, this is surefire. Like you took a full on risk on yourself, because it could have been the big fat flop.
Yeah.
It really could have.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's easier now by any means, but there's more surefire ways for building out a business around this or setting up your own UGC studio. Like this is, I think there's data that shows like 85% of US based companies are using influencer marketing now in 2025. It wasn't like that before.
Right.
It was riskier,
Right. I think, yeah, the brands have totally come on board of seeing how powerful influencer marketing is. From like 2015, so much has changed since 2020. And then I saw I was crazy busy 2020 during COVID. Like I got so many brand deals from like beauty brands and skincare brands and home brands just because brands were like, oh my God, like what are we going to do? Like we have to pay influencers, like our only way to have marketing this year because everything's shut down. I do think that there's something with the kind of people who started a long time ago, like the OG influencers. I feel like their audience is so die hard and loyal and engaged and trusting. And that's I would say one of the benefits about starting so long ago is my audience has been around for so long and they followed my journey for 10 plus years, 15 years now, actually. Back in my missfoodie.com days where I started food blogging, they have been around for so long that they've seen my journey. They're super invested. And I feel even though I don't have millions of followers, and I feel my climb has been very gradual. I've never peaked. I've never went crazy with so many tons of viral reels getting hundreds of thousands of followers super quickly. But my followers have been around since the very beginning. And I think that's very, very valuable. There's something to that.
A creator once told me that it's like 300,000 people having your phone number. It stuck with me because it was like, imagine my DMs, imagine the comments, imagine the amount. Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of comments, engagements, DMs? It's like feel overwhelming, like truly not in a bad way, because of course you're grateful and you love the people, but like, how do you manage engaging with comments, engaging with your people? Like at what point does it become too much? If it
I
does,
don't,
maybe it doesn't.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I hear a lot of people say that. And I truly, like, if I felt that, I have no problem admitting that. I don't know if I feel ever like overwhelmed. Like, I really take my time to like respond to people. If I don't get to somebody, I try not to let it stress me out. Like, I really try to be engaged with like my community. I have such like a really supportive and like positive community, like not a lot of haters. So I actually really enjoy being online. I enjoy like interacting with everybody. And no, I think like I'm really good with just like feeling and being grounded and not letting it get to me and feeling overwhelmed. I think if you would have asked me this a few years ago, I might have said something different. Like, it was more like stressful for me to keep up with all the platforms and posting consistently than like really engaging with people and their messages. And because that to me is like the fun part. Like, I love talking to the people that support me. And that's not stressful for me. It was more like feeling like I had to keep up and post every day and like make sure my TikTok was being like, I was posting on TikTok, I was posting on Instagram, like I was posting on my YouTube shorts. I was like keeping up with everything. That kind of stressed me out, I would say. Now it doesn't. Like, I really, really got to a place where like I go at my own pace. And I think that's the key, because I've experienced burnout before. I know we talked about it, but in 2019 was like the busiest year for me. And I was traveling back to back. Like, I had trips back to back. I probably was home for a total of like a month total in 2019. And I got to the point where at the end of the year, I was going to Hawaii and beautiful places for brand trips. And I didn't want to be there. Like, I wanted to go home. And that's when I knew like I can never let myself get into this space, like mental space ever again. And I have not burnt out since. And I think that's the key to just like feeling positive in this industry and like not getting burnt out and not feeling overwhelmed and going at your own pace. Cause like the slower you move and the more you take your time and kind of do it at your own pace, the more you're just inspired and you want to show up. Like, you want to show up for your community. You're inspired. You're not like deflated, which I think is really important.
You mentioned the pressure of keeping up with the proverbial Joneses of all these platforms and the posting on so many. Now you say you've been able to get a grip on that, but is it just like an intentional choice to be like, I'm just going to do less, or I'm not going to post this on TikTok? Or like, how do you stay on top of repurposing all your content?
I feel like there's some videos that I'm like, okay, this is a TikTok video and like this is an Instagram video. So like, I don't always cross promote, but sometimes if I have something for Instagram, like for me, it's easy for me to be like, okay, I'll just post it on TikTok too. But it's more so like that than posting on TikTok and then being like, let me post this on Instagram. I'm a little more like picky with like what I post on Instagram aesthetically. And TikTok honestly has become really fun for me. I was reluctant and I was fighting it for so long. I did not want to get TikTok. And I was like seeing the emergence of like how crazy it became during COVID. And I was like, please, like just go away. Like I don't want another platform. And then I finally just started experimenting and posting, and I just had fun because I didn't care as much. So it was just kind of like, I don't care if I have hundreds of thousands of followers on here. I'm just going to post what's fun for me and see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. I just started like posting, like repurposing my travel videos and maybe just posting things that I wouldn't post on Instagram. And then I started going viral and gaining some followers. And then it just became a fun place. So I don't look at it as like, oh God, I have to post on this. And then it's just like, now it's just a fun place for me.
I love this energy of social being fun. This is so refreshing, because I feel like maybe I'm just around a lot of complainers, but I think that I really appreciate the energy of like, listen, we're blessed to do what we do. We're so beyond lucky to have this type of job, to be able to choose what our days look like. Yes, there's the burden, but there's so much benefit and blessings that do come with it. So this is such a refreshing outtake. So we were talking about this before, just kind of like how a lot of creators do feel this sense of like wanting to give up, especially when you've been doing anything for 10 years, like any job, right? You could be a dentist and be like, do I want a career shift? Like, people get bored. How have you been able to stay light when people feel a little bit more dark?
like really just loving what you do, that no matter what, even if everything burned down tomorrow, like you're still going to continue doing. Just like I was doing this before Instagram, I'm even if Instagram burned down tomorrow, like I'm going to continue doing this because it's something that I truly, truly love. So when I tell people who like want to do what I do, like the first piece of advice I give them is like, you have to love it. You have to love it because it gets overwhelming. It's not as glamorous as it looks. There are pros and cons, and it's like people have 9 to 5s and then they're off the clock. It's like this is a 24/7 job. Like you have to be built for this. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to really truly love it. And so I love it so much. And I'm really just not saying this. Like maybe if you caught me a year ago or maybe a few months from now, maybe my mindset would be different. It really just depends on where I'm at. But like I'm in a really good place. And I think like the key for me is because of me just cherishing the slower pace and like the slow living and just not feeling stressed. And honestly, in 2022, I kind of hit a wall and I like had this spiritual awakening, I guess, as you would put it. And that's when I really got into meditation and I really like just started like living slower and just feeling more grounded and like going on trips that were more meaningful for me and curating my own trips and kind of going back to the roots of why I started traveling in the first place. And like maybe this is why I have this like refreshed mentality of this whole thing, because I did hit a wall in 2019 at the end of the year. I did hit another wall in 2022 where I felt like everything was like cringy to me. Like everyone made me cringe. I started feeling like everyone was posting things just to go viral and getting on these trends and getting on these TikTok trends and like posting it on Instagram. And they were sacrificing like the art form of like why we started in the first place and like their passion to just go viral and get more followers and become famous. And it was just becoming such an eye roll for me. And I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't want to become that. And I've always stayed true and I've never went that direction. And I think that's why here I am in 2025, like sitting here feeling refreshed, feeling inspired, not feeling burnt out, not feeling all the things that you said. Like I really am in a good space. But I think by allowing myself, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but by allowing myself that grace, by allowing myself to kind of remind myself why I started doing this to begin with and curating trips that really sparked my passion and my love of what I do really just got me to where I am today. And I'm in a good place.
I love that. I'm really, you're not rambling at all. I'm like inspired. I'm like, feel like I'm going to therapy. I'm like, oh my God, I feel better. No, only because it's a good mindset to have. It's so easy to go dark. I always say like, it's on the same coin. You can wake up being like, what am I grateful for? You can wake up and say, what do I not have? It's a choice. And I feel like you've made a choice to just kind of go slower. And I think it reflects in your content. Your content has had a shift. For those of you that don't know, Nicole, I think, like she mentioned, a lot of her content now is more mindful travel, a lot more intentional. I feel like your content also reflects that shift that you're kind of also going to, and you can see that.
The word of 2025 for me is intention. So like I told myself, like make decisions with intention and say yes to opportunities with intention, go on trips with intention. Like don't just say yes, yes, yes to everything and then get burnt out. Really feel like what aligns with where you are in your life right now. If it feels like it's authentic to where you are and it feels aligned, then go on the trip. If it's an opportunity that feels good for your soul, like say yes to it. If it doesn't, say no. And I've learned another really important thing is just say no if it's something that is not serving you, or if they're not respecting and paying you your worth. Like say no. It's okay to say no. I used to just be scared to say no because I was like, what if I get to the point where I don't get these opportunities anymore? And so that just made me say yes to everything. So I was so scared that it was going to end. And so now I'm like not worried about that. I'm just like, do what feels right and aligned. And even if you have to say no, as hard as it is for an amazing trip, like if they're not respecting your worth and wanting to pay you for your time and efforts, then it's okay to say no. And so maybe I'm home a little bit more than I'm used to lately, but I'm also like at peace with saying no to brands that are not like respecting my worth.
Speaking of brands that aren't respecting, one thing that I know you've gone off on Threads, personal convos, anytime we posted anything, you've just been very vocal about the importance of creators charging, because you look at us as a community. You're like, if one person says, I'll do it for free, then it hurts all of us. You've really had a very vocal stance on that because you see us as this collective. And I know with that influx of creators coming into the market and a lot of them doing stuff for free, it hurts everyone. So what do you want to kind of say to the creators that maybe are new and starting and afraid to say no and not getting paid, doing it for free, kind of how that can affect the industry as a whole?
there's two sides to this because look, like I said, I was on the other side in the beginning. I would jump on for a free trip, you know? So I understand people just starting out and wanting to get that opportunity and add to their portfolio and create content in a beautiful destination. Like I get that. I understand. And look, for me, if it's like in a crazy, amazing opportunity somewhere that I've never been before, and it's like, wow, like my dream brand, and they're willing to fly me and a plus one out there, and it's like, you know, a trip of a lifetime and it's not paid, I'm like, I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm not afraid to admit, like, I'm going to say yes to that. I'm going to say yes to that trip. It's a free trip. It's an amazing opportunity. If it aligns with my schedule, I'm going to say yes. So there's two sides to this, but like, if I get invited to Mexico, for instance, literally like 50 times a year, like to work with different hotels and everything, it's like, how many free trips to Mexico, like, do I have to do? Like, no, I should be paid for my time. It's just like, you know, if it's something that's just like a hotel, and you know, and it's also like brand, like it matters the brand. Like if it's a big global brand that you know has money, like they should be paying you. If it's like a smaller, more boutique brand, because look, I have my own clothing brand. I know how hard it is to own a brand as like a small business brand, and you can't just like shell out money to a ton of influencers. It's super, super hard. And I'm all about supporting small business too. So like there's like really two sides to this, because if a small business, you know, reaches out to me, and especially if it's woman owned, I want to support you. It's like a woman owned small business. Like I want to support you. Maybe you can't pay me, but if I genuinely love your stuff, I have no problem wearing or supporting your brand and like giving you some love. But then at the same time, as like when brands reach out to me and don't offer it and they just want to give me free product and they don't want to pay me, but they're a bigger brand, that's kind of when it is frustrating, because like, I know you have the money, you're a big brand, like pay me for my time. What industry, like it's basically like asking for wedding photographers to fly to your wedding, pay for their flights. I mean, sorry, you're going to pay for their flights, you're going to pay for their food, you're going to give them a whole weekend trip, but you're not going to pay them for their wedding photography. Like that is unheard of. Why do we have to, like, why are we saying okay to it? Like wedding photographers are not going to work for free, even if you pay for their flights and their food. So like, why do we have to do that? We're still editing photos. We're still capturing content. We're still working hard. How is this okay? You
It's
know,
actually,
so
it's not. It's not
yeah.
okay. It's not okay because it feels really unfair. Do you feel like you have friends in this industry that you can be like, oh, you like transparency around money? Because I know sometimes a creator will be like, wait, she got paid this? What? And then there becomes this like rumor mill of finding out what other people get paid, like, or even a good way to soundboard, be like, oh, wait, I'm going to charge because so-and-so worked with them and they charge 7,000. So I'm going to charge that. Like, do you feel like you have resources or friendships that you can bounce those sort of like, to
Yeah.
kind of, because there's nothing worse than doing something for free and finding out someone else got paid
Yeah.
for it. Like,
Which,
I hate
yeah,
that.
I've had that happen before, where like really big corporate resorts and brands would reach out to me offering me a free trip, but I know they paid my friend. So it's like, how does that even work? Like, how does that, like, they're like, yeah, there's two different offices that actually, like, we're like the press office, and then that's like the actual like resort office. Like they'll say things like that, but I'm just like, yeah, it's crazy. That's why it's really nice to have friends in the industry that you can kind of ask and kind of bounce off ideas, of which we do all the time, you know. But it's crazy to me that brands will just like reach out to some people and pay them, and then not, and it's like the same following too. Like how do they even assess that? It's crazy.
It's like, we're also going to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You know what's even crazier is like you're on a press trip and you're sitting at table and you're sitting at like dinner with everybody, and you know some people got paid and some people didn't. Like that's happened so many times too, where like I feel like some of them are not paid and then like I'm paid, or then I find out that like one of them's paid and then we're not paid. It's just like the most awkward thing ever. Like, how are you going to bring all these people together in the same room and pay some and then not pay the others? Like,
so awkward. I actually want to speak about the travel industry in particular, because your brand portfolio is massive. You've worked with fashion, you've worked with beauty, you've worked with tech, you've worked with travel. And I think there's a glamour around being a travel influencer, especially in my position. I see a lot of creators wanting to be travel, travel, travel. And I always have to pop the bubble to be like, travel doesn't always pay. I like to use the word always because I don't want to always say never, but it's hard to get paid in travel
Yeah.
when they're comping your hotel and your airfare and
Yeah.
your food and your beverage. Yes, there are instances that it does. So what would you say, like in terms of partnerships that have been the most successful or fruitful for you? What industries have they been in? You don't have to name numbers or names, but
Yeah.
is it the travel brands that are paying, or do you find that do travel brands pay? Let's start that way,
Mhm.
like versus, because again, people always think that, at least the creators that I talk to, they're just like, oh yeah, the hotel, I want to work with hotels and tourism boards. I'm like, okay, but do you want like a free trip or do you want to get paid? And I know that they pay for content and stuff like that, but do you think there are other niches that are maybe more profitable?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pretty much every single other niche is more profitable than travel, I think. I mean, unless you're really working with a tourism board or an airline, those are the companies that have the money. Those usually don't have money. It's like, yeah, it's like resorts don't want to pay you. They're giving you a room, they're giving you flights, and they're giving you food. They don't feel like they have to pay. The most, yeah, I would say like the most successful I've been with like within travel is like working with a brand that I can, like if I'm already going on a trip anyways and I'm working with a brand that's like a paid collab, like I would use that trip to go shoot. So like anytime, like when I used to, or if I still do accept a free trip here and there, like it only makes sense for me to go and like shoot Kadima or shoot a brand that's paying me and get like
Bang for your
kill
buck.
two bang for the best bang for your buck. Exactly. So like I would say like tourism boards have money, airlines have money, but like other than that, it's really hard for a hotel to pay you. Like just full transparency. I would say every other market in our industry is like an easier market to monetize, whether it's skincare. I mean, like I know people that have had kids and they're making triple the amount of money than when they were just like not doing family content and they were just traveling and doing more like influencer, like solo kind of travel stuff. They had babies and they started posting more family stuff and they're tripling their income with like baby brands and family brands and even home brands and skincare, beauty, all of that. All of that is way easier to make money in than the travel industry for sure.
I think that's important to hear from a travel creator, you guys, who has worked with and gotten paid from your top travel brands in the industry. But it is harder, right? Because they're comping these big trips. So it seems like other niches, will pay for, like how Nicole's saying, maybe she'll use this free trip, but then shoot for product for a brand that she's already on with. So in terms of like brand deals now versus brand deals when you first started, how has that kind of shifted for you? And also, I'm just curious if there's any sort of like campaigns that you think like not did really well that you're really proud of, or content. Because I mean, imagine telling Nicole 15 years ago the brand decks that I just revealed on the bio. I mean, it's pretty impressive. You've worked with like global, multi-million, billion-dollar brands. So is there anything that you're particularly proud of as well in terms of some of the brands or campaigns that you would
Yeah.
feel like you'd want to share?
I mean, I've worked with pretty much like all my dream brands except Delta. I'm still waiting for that one to come through.
Delta,
um,
where are you
I
at?
know,
Come on.
literally, like it's been years, but I also don't really see them working with anybody. So that at least that makes me feel a little better. I don't think that they do anything. I've seen it very rarely, but yeah, like I would say working with like high fashion brands, which I never would have thought I would ever work with, like Givenchy, to like biggest beauty brands like Neutrogena, Olay have been like a dream, but also like I've worked with airlines, like, I've worked with Four Seasons have been some like a brand that a chain that I've really loved working with. And like American Express, McDonald's, like all these brands that I'm just like, like I would never think that I would ever work with these crazy big corporate brands. But I would say like I just wrapped a campaign with DJI and like I love working with camera brands like Canon, things like that, because like it's kind of adventure-y and they want like adventure content, which is all right up my alley. So I can go and do all my diving content, my adventure content, and all these beautiful places. And like it makes sense with my content. I'm already shooting on an action camera anyway. So like I love a campaign where I'm already shooting with your stuff anyways, and now you're paying me. Like it's a dream. So I just wrap that up and yeah, I have some others in the works. Like it just when it aligns, it's just like the best. It's the best. When you feel like you have to, and like I say no, like if it's something that I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna like this is hard. Like this is gonna be hard. It needs to make sense for me. It needs to be already aligned with like what I already do. And then that's when it's like the stars align and you're just so excited to work with that brand because you use their product anyways.
Yeah, versus really putting a stretch out there. I know you
Yeah.
also mentioned you're just a lot more selective and now you're a lot more focused on brands that come to you. I think a lot of people have fallen for what I like to call shiny coin syndrome, which is when we see something and we think it's going to make us a lot of money. So I kind of put managers in that bucket. I don't know what your opinion is about having management. I don't know if you have management, but I know a lot of creators feel like I'm going to get a manager. My life is going to be amazing. They're going to get me all the jobs. It's going to be awesome. What is your take on management? Like, do you have one? Do you feel like it's something a creator should be investing in or looking for? When do you get one? Give us your opinions on that, just as someone who's, again, in the field doing this day to day.
I can tell you like my personal experience. I've been with so many different management companies, especially when I first started out. And I didn't feel like they were bringing much value to me. Like I've gotten a few jobs from a management company that have been great, but I always felt like I was bringing more to them than they were bringing to me. And I was just like, I'm also like a control freak. So I'm like, let me just like handle this myself. So for the past few years, I just work with one person who handles my day to day. She's somebody very close with me and she's just like a personal manager of mine. And she handles like all my emails and incoming collabs and contracts and stuff instead of working with like a management company. Cause I just feel like it's hard to get that one-on-one like relationship. And I feel like they just pitch you to like, they basically pitch you and along with everyone else to the same brands and they don't tailor it to like what your niche is and like what your specialty is. So it's like, don't pitch me to all of the same brands that you're pitching everybody else that like doesn't even really go with my brand. Like I want you to look at my brand and see like, wow, Nicole would be perfect working with this, and this brand. Let me pitch them instead of just being like, oh, well, I'm already like pitching to this, and this for all these other people. And let me just throw Nicole in there. Like it doesn't make sense. So I just feel like my personal experience with management companies, it's never been really, really successful. And I've worked with some of the best ones. So I just found that like, I like to just work one-on-one with somebody that I trust and kind of keep it smaller. And I like to do it myself. I don't know. But then people say like, look, you can get way more money with a management company because brands respect the fact that you have a management company and they feel like they need to pay you more because you're represented by a management company versus just like a personal manager, which a lot of people have. So I don't know. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I actually agree. I feel like I talk again to creators all day. Big creators making 7 figures a year on brand deals, and the amount that have told me they have brought it in-house, that they're tired of giving a cut of their business to someone when most of the business is inbound leads anyways, when it's just like, oh, wait, this is my inbox. Like you're not even getting anything. Like, oh my gosh, this company's coming to me. They're offering me this, and now I have to give you a cut when I could just handle it. Like,
yeah.
So I've heard that there's probably, I would say 85 to 90% of the creators that I'm friends with have ended up bringing it back and they're not happy with management. I only recently talked to one girl and she's like, I love my manager. And it was like the first person I've ever heard say that. So it was like a refreshing, I'm open to hearing that, I'm open to it.
It all depends on like who you're assigned, like who your personal manager is assigned. Like if you have a good one assigned to you that you click with and that you just like that she really or he really just believes in you and like you rock together. And like some people have been with the same manager for years, more power to you. I just feel like it's hard to find that right fit. Like you need that right fit. And it's sometimes really, it could take years to find that. So unless that falls in my lap, like I'm open to it. I just feel like I haven't found that.
Yeah. No, same. I'm not a manager hater, but I have yet to see, I've only seen very few circumstances when the creator feels so empowered by their management.
Right.
Versus like feeling like they're giving all their leads, Because at the end of the day, for a lot of creators, I don't know if this is for you, but brand deals is the most significant part of their income. Like they're making money in other ways, but when you look at like the piece of the pie, like brand deals is like 80%. Yes, there's other ways to monetize, but when 80% of your income comes from a specific category and a lot of those come from inbound, it gets a little tricky to have to hand that over.
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
I definitely think so too. In terms of like, I guess you mentioning, your business, and I think you've always kind of looked at this as a business. Right now you're slowing down in so many ways, right? You're being more intentional, 2025, your choices and also your brand partnerships. So would you also agree that even just like with pitching in general and putting yourself out there, are you just kind of like waiting for brands to kind of come to you and kind of just really sitting back and manage? Like, is it because I'm curious to hear where your energy kind of goes to for that monetization side? I know there's Kadima and I really want to talk about that as well. But from a brand deal perspective, are you kind of just taking a sit back approach at the moment?
Yeah, to answer your question, I definitely am not sitting and pitching myself all day to brands. Like that was something that I did in the very beginning, and I don't do that anymore. It's more so, yes, waiting for opportunities to come to me because I am focusing on bigger projects right now. Like I'm filming a documentary, like a special series that's like really close to my heart. It's like a passion project of mine. So I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on Kadima more. I'm focusing on just like bigger projects. And then like I'm going on a really big trip that I'm excited about in June that I'm actually curating, and I'm working, like I'm pitching like in that regard to work with certain brands for that trip specifically, because it's one of those trips that, remember when I went to the jungle in Indonesia, it's like one of those special trips that like I'm pitching certain resources like to make the trip come full fruition. But so if I'm already going somewhere anyways, like if I have to go somewhere or travel somewhere, and then that's when I'll kind of pitch. If I decide to be like, okay, let me see if this hotel is available instead of me us paying for a hotel, like I'll pitch when it comes to like stuff like that, and I'm already curating my own trips. But no, I on a day to day, like I don't sit here and like pitch to brands anymore. Like it's all incoming, and yeah, I'm focusing on just bigger projects.
I love that. So just like slower, bigger projects. I feel like
Yes.
that's a big central theme too, especially because we have been doing this for so long. Maybe we're less go, 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 push, push, push. Maybe for when you first got started, when you were really probably going at 100 miles per hour, like all of us traveling, going in it, were there certain like investments made, whether they're like financial or time or sacrifices that you felt you had to do to get to the place that you are now? Do you like, I don't know if you would feel comfortable sharing that,
Oh
but
my
like,
God.
no.
No, yeah, of course. I always tell people it's like blood, sweat, and tears to get to where I am today, for sure. I spent so much of my money traveling to create content, so much of my money paying photographers for content, so much like just investing my time and energy into just traveling and creating content and like working with different photographers and like buying cute outfits and like I would be a crazy person in my robe all day, like pitching myself to different brands, different hotels, just to like make things come alive, like just to work with anybody. I was so excited to work with any brand, you know? And I remember like getting so excited when someone would say yes to me, you know? And this was back in 2015. And I was like on a mission when I first started. Like when I quit my job, and this was in 2015. I moved all my stuff into storage in my parents' house. I broke up with my boyfriend, got a one-way ticket to Italy. I worked with a photographer I've never traveled with before. I put everything on the line. I didn't even know. I bought a one-way ticket. I didn't even know when I was coming back home. I said goodbye to my family and friends and said, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, but like wish me luck. And like I put everything on the line. Like for me, like I could not fail. Like I was on a mission. And for, I would say like the first few years, I just went nuts. Like I barely slept. I was like jet lagged 24/7 all year long. Like I was in different places and sleeping in different hotels and just like waking up for sunrises and shooting every single morning. Like I was relentless. I did not want to fail. So like I did that for so long. My life was so insane because I didn't want to come home and say like this didn't work and I didn't and I failed and I wasn't successful at this. So yeah, I would say, and even now, like I'm still investing in things like
Your
it never
documentary.
stops. Like it just never stops. Like you're always investing in yourself. Like if you get to a point where you have to stop investing in yourself, like I would have questions. Like you're always trying to elevate. You're always trying to get to the next level. You're always trying to become better. So there is never a point where you're going to ever stop investing in yourself. You're always buying the next best camera. You're always trying, you know, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
starting your own brand. Like it
Do you
just
think
never
it's something
stops.
like the motivation? Where does it come from? Like, where does it
Oh,
come from? Like to keep motivated for so long? Is it, I know you said it's passion of doing it, but is there, do you have like, I don't know, are you a podcast girl? Like, do you read? Do you wake up early? Like, is routine important? Like, I know you mentioned meditation, but like, how do you stay so motivated to like keep going? That's the one thing that when I see really successful people in this space, they just keep going. And I just had a call with someone recently and like, that stamina. It's like, where does this come from? Maybe it's like an innate born with it competitive like push, you know?
But if you saw me on a day-to-day basis, you wouldn't see me like wake up and like let's go to the gym and like let's go listen to this podcast and let's be the best version I can be and like let's do this, let's do that. Like that is not me. Like it takes me 4 hours to even leave the house in the morning. Like I'm super, super slow. I like silence for hours right when I wake up. Like I'm very, very slow in the mornings. I don't try to like rush and do like everything during the day. Like when I'm home, I'm telling you, my life is super slow. And I think that is why that when I do have a job or I have to create content or I'm going on a trip, I'm like so excited and pumped and like because I'm giving my time, I'm like balancing. Like I'm really good with balancing now. Like I'm home. Like I'm giving myself that time to sleep 8 to 9 hours a night. You know, I'm like not rushing to put in content every day. Like I'm really taking my time to edit all my stuff and like be intentional with what I put out there and what I post. I think the key is to not burn yourself out so that when you do create, you're like inspired and you're motivated. And like, that's what I keep telling people. It's not a race. It's like a gradual jog. Like probably in the next 10 years, I'm still going to be climbing. So I'm like, I'm always growing, you know, like it's always a gradual climb. I'm very much like not racing to get there and just like doing it at my own pace.
I love that. I am up and down. I'm quitting.
That's
I love
okay.
it. I love quitting. I love this. Like literally.
No, that's okay. And that's normal.
Yeah.
That's super normal. Honestly, like I'm sure talking about that is also very relatable because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And I think it's important to talk about that too if that's what you're feeling. And there are days where I get discouraged. There are days where I get frustrated because people that have started years after me have way more followers than me now. Like you'd think that that's a real feeling. Like I'm human, you know? Also just like comparing yourself is like also a really big thing. Like I really have to stop myself sometimes. Like if I let myself scroll, which I really try not to anymore, if I let myself scroll and I'm comparing myself to other people, that's when like my mind kind of starts going a little dark and I'm like, okay, I need to stop and I need to get off because like what I do have and like what I have created for myself is amazing and like stop comparing. So
I love that. And it's so important because social media is infinite. It's like Tinder. You could like literally just keep scrolling and being like,
yeah,
my life isn't good enough. It's not this, it's not that. Even someone like you who's like, you again from the looking in, you're like, she literally has everything. You know, we're all comparing ourselves to everyone constantly because of the beast that we're in, you know. So I do want to, before we wrap up, because I want to be mindful of time, but I do want to talk about Kadima and the shift to building your own business. And I think a lot of creators, once they hit a certain level or maybe a certain zone in their business, they're ready to take on their own project and become the brand. Can you walk us through like just jumping over to the other side? You know, what inspired you to kind of launch this brand? How did it kind of come together? And how has being a creator also helped you as a business owner? Because I'm sure there's like a lot of crossover.
Yeah, it's so interesting to be on both sides now. And I've learned a lot. It's been very eye-opening. It's like, you know, man, I would say that like when people have a built-in following, they're like, yeah, like the smartest thing for me to do is like start a brand, like come out with a product, you know? And it's like, yeah, of course. Like if you have that built-in audience, that's so valuable. But like no one tells you how hard it is to start a brand and to maintain it and to keep it going. Like no one talks about how hard that is. It's like, especially when you don't put 100% of your efforts and your time and energy into it, businesses are not successful when you don't put 100% in it. And so Kadima has been something that like it took me years to figure out what I wanted to do. Like, do I want to just come out with a product? Like, do I want to have my own swim line? Do I want to have my own, you know, skincare product? Like what is calling me? You know, I didn't want to just come out with a product to come out with a product and have it just be like just a money-making thing for me. Like I wanted to be passionate about it. I wanted to feel true. I wanted it to have longevity. I knew that it had to be something that I loved truly for it to have that longevity and have that success. So it took me years to figure out what I wanted to do and what I wanted to come out with. It happened in 2019. I was walking the streets of Amalfi with my sister and we were like, why don't we come out with, and it's so special to do it with my sister too and not just do it alone. Like we're so close and it's just so nice to have somebody that like you do it with. Like it's so much better and easier when you have a partner than doing it by yourself because it's so much. I can't even tell you how much it is. But like resort wear and like travel wear and like things that I already wore when I was on vacation and like we incorporated jewelry, so we have incorporated swim, like all these things were just seamlessly incorporated with my life as is, and it was so easy to be like, yes, this is perfect, you know. I will say like I'm constantly learning. I think brands that have been around for decades and they're successful and like big global corporate brands are still trying to figure out this influencer marketing thing too, because it's like trial and error for the most successful brands or versus even like a small business, or if you're a successful crazy global brand, like it's all about trial and error, especially when it comes to influencer marketing and working with creators. Cause it's like the people you think that are going to move the needle for you and you think that are going to sell don't do anything. Like they literally can't sell a piece versus like someone that are maybe has like a lot smaller following that you're like, I'm not really quite sure if this person's going to sell anything, ends up selling stuff. And you're just like, how are you supposed to know this? It's like I mean, there are platforms. I know there's like databases where you can see people's like ROIs or like engagement rates and stuff like that. But like even then it's like, depends on what they post. They could post a product that like really hits well with their audience, but then they could post something else and like it's a complete flop. You just like never know what's going to hit and what's not going to hit. And it's like, now being on the other side and having like creators pitch to Kadima all the time, and like I'm the one that is ultimately making the decisions on like who we want to work with. It's like I'd rather work with a much smaller creator that is aligned like with the brand aesthetic than work with somebody with millions and millions of followers who maybe most of their demographic is men, and maybe they just post like sexy photos and like a lot like they're not going to sell if most of their majority of their demo is men watching them, you know. It's like I'd rather give someone, you know, clothes that has like 25,000 followers, but they take the most epic, beautiful photos that are in line with Kadima's brand aesthetic. So I've learned that. So then we've tried both. Like we've tried people with millions of followers, and we've tried people that like micro influencers. And it's like a lot of people surprise you, and it's still a learning thing. Like it's like, I don't know. No one really has answers to this. Like even brands, like they don't really know what creator is going to move the needle for them, and it's all a gamble. You know, it's kind of crazy. And like, what's the best in marketing? Is it influencer marketing, or is it like doing Facebook ads? Like it's all just like trial and error and like learning. It's crazy. And it's like it's scary because when you're a small business and you have like very limited money to invest in marketing and advertising, you don't want to make any mistakes, you know? Like at least with like big companies, like they have more money to kind of experiment and try this and try that. When you're a small brand, everything hurts. Like even gifting clothing hurts you, you know? So it's like it's tough.
You can feel it. And now you have like that other perspective too, being now on the brand side. It's interesting how that kind of goes. But do you enjoy the product process? Like, do you see yourself expanding into other verticals or other products or growing Kadima more? Like, what does that future look like?
I hope so. I mean, when life gets busy, just it gets harder and harder to like really focus. Like my sister just had a baby, and it's like we have all these dreams and plans for Kadima. Like we want to come out with a menswear line. Like we just came out with swim last summer. We dabbled in like, you know, sourcing jewelry from around the world, and that went really well. But it's like, yeah, they're like the umbrella of things we can do under Kadima is endless, especially with like just our passions with like, you know, like we would love to do like purses and just like really fancy, expensive red carpet wear, you know, even like stuff like that. So yeah, we have all these like goals and plans. It's just like it's just hard. I'm not going to lie. It's really hard because it's like, it's almost like I need to give up my personal brand and really focus on that and give all my energy to that. Or I can kind of continue doing it as part-time and like, yeah, it's like successful, but it's not reaching its potential that it could possibly reach when I'm giving 50% of my time to my personal brand. So it's
I feel that so deep in my bones because it's like, how do you treat yourself like a client? And it's like a baby. Having your own business is a baby, and it's really hard when you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And sometimes that's all you can manage from a capacity standpoint. So final words as we wrap up, just, you know, maybe for creators listening in that have, you know, that are relatively new or been doing this for a while. Especially, you know, you mentioned this at the beginning, there's just so much more creators now, and there's just so many more people in this industry. And people still deal with the imposter syndrome, the comparison games. You know, just any words of advice for the creator community here at Sidewalker that are probably looking up to you and being like, oh my gosh, I want to do what she's doing. Any sort of like lessons learned or things that you would want to share with anyone else before we wrap up?
Yeah, keep going. And if this is something that you truly love and you're passionate about content creating or whatever niche that you're in, like keep going, because there's always people that can learn from you. And like I've seen people grow so fast, and I'm so proud of them. Like people that were students at Sidewalker that are now like killing it, you know. It's like such an amazing thing to see, and like anything's possible. And like we talk about like this influencer marketing and this content creation world is like it's not going anywhere. Like it's here to stay. And so I just think that it's never too late. And if this is like, just dig deep. And if it's something that you truly love doing, like go for it and just be consistent and put quality content out there and just keep going. And yeah, I love seeing success stories and I've seen so many with you and it's just been so amazing to see.
I love that you say quality content too, because you're probably, I talk to people all the time and we're going to hear different opinions, but it's like I said, refreshing to hear like Nicole, like your content is so beautiful. And anyone that sees you that doesn't know who you are and goes and checks you out, I'll leave in the show notes all your links to everything. But anyone that is like learning about you for the first time is going to see your content and be like, oh my God, it's to your point, quality. Like that's your differentiator. That's like your special sauce is like, for you, it's an art form. For you, it's important that the quality is there. Whereas maybe someone else is doing more like that fast short form, and that's their style and that's their
Which is
way.
fine. And that's fine. Just stay true to who you are. Like don't change based on like trying to be famous or gain more followers. Like that's when I think you lose people when you're just like not authentic. I think that if I have one piece of advice to give everyone is like be as authentic as possible and stay true to who you are and like just put things out there that you truly love. And people feel that through the screen.
And that you can stand behind. I saw this interview recently with like Ed Sheeran and he was talking about just like his music. They were like, oh, do you ever get sick of a song? He's like, no, like I can stand behind what I do. So it's like be able to stand behind your content and not just go after the likes and the fame, but creating quality content that, that you're proud of. Like I feel like you're proud of your content.
Yeah. Totally.
And you're going to be doing more YouTube, right?
Yeah. So I think like one thing, if someone told me like 15 years ago when I started out, if I could go back in time and like do things differently, I think I would have stuck with my YouTube more and posted more consistently on my YouTube. And like now knowing the importance of video, like whether it's short form or long form, I think I would have probably really focused on my YouTube channel and like being more consistent with posting and not posting twice a year just because I'm like being a perfectionist with the editing and like my videos are just like taking 6 months to edit because I'm like such a anal perfectionist. But I think I probably would have just like posted more and not cared and just kind of grown my YouTube because I feel like YouTube is a whole nother world and like people on YouTube are making a lot of money and they're killing it. And I wish I
on art that you love to make anyways, like
exactly.
like not necessarily a brand deal or something else, but just monetizing these gorgeous videos and you have the footage.
Yeah, and like storytelling, that's like the art form that I truly love the most is like the storytelling aspect of what we do. And so YouTube really allows you to do that. It's not just like a 10-second reel that you're not able to like really like tell a story. It's like on YouTube you can actually tell a story and I love it. It's like my most proud work is on that channel and I just feel like I wish I would have spent more time dedicating to YouTube, but it's okay. Like it's like I said, it's never too late and I can continue.
Never too late.
Yeah.
And you can pick it up too. I agree. I always tell people, like for me, YouTube is like a breath of fresh air. I think I have like 1,200 videos on the platform or something.
Wow.
And it's only because I can really just not censor. I can just be long-winded. That's who I am. I like conversations. I cannot be fit into 10 seconds. It's so hard for me short form. I've struggled with short form. I love just yapping away and YouTube has given me the space. And the people that want to hear me yap, go to YouTube or my podcast and they can listen to me for hours and be fine with it. So it's like also to your point, finding content that brings you joy. Don't just create content because everyone else is telling you. Create content where you feel free, where there's no stress on your neck, where you're just like, I love this place, So I think it's important to find the platform that also aligns with you and aligns with the type of creator you are.
Totally. Amen to that.
Amen to that. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. This has been amazing. Any links I will leave in the show notes. You're Nicole Isaacs on everything. And Kadima, I will also include the links to Kadima below, your YouTube channel, your social, your website. So I'll make sure to link everything for you guys in the show notes so you guys can go take a look at Nicole and follow along her amazing journey. And thank you, Nicole, for shedding so much wisdom and being so authentic and yourself and opening up with us today.
Of course.
Grateful.
It's always nice and fun to hang with you. I love it.
Nicole, thank you.